One of the things that I spent over a decade doing is funding the museum. Now, at our museum, which is the Jewish Children's Museum, is the educational arm of the Lubavitch movement, which is, I'm sure, if you are from Brooklyn and you are very close to Kingston, you do know of the Lubavitch community, which is, I consider Eastern Parkway as well. And so it actually began, I was working at the educational arm for the children at the time my son was murdered. And things evolved. And they had always wanted to do a museum, and we thought about building something, and it just never happened. But this was the catalyst that, and I recall having a meeting with my colleagues which is back then our office, and was in a different place than we are housed now. And we said, well, what do you think about working on the museum? And the long story, short story, which is where we are today. It began with a dream, and I remember actually it began with trying to remember what the city, city and state and federal government and private funding, community, outside the community, and it was then that I really found out what people are, that we live in the best country in the world.
What do you believe, now back to the top issue, what do you believe is the number one issue that is preventing us from stopping the human trafficking?
So I think the big thing is actually recognizing victims as victims. They're not bad girls running the street that we shouldn't care about. They are somebody's daughter, somebody's sister, somebody's mother, and they're people who are in need of assistance. They're not throwaways, and so I think that's one of the biggest barriers that we have.
If I know I want to purchase a home, should I give myself time? But it's not something that you're going to do like you buy a pair of jeans.
It takes a while to find the house that you want. I mean, especially if you have like this 20-page list, not to mention you find out what your closing cost is, and you find out that you only have a certain amount, then you need to save up some more. There's so many things that come into that equation, and maybe you found out there was something with your credit you didn't know about, and as a lender, we don't really easily forgive on something that we feel like you should handle when you're first purchasing it. It's more forgiving when you already own it. Unfortunately, that's the case. So if all these factors are going into it when you're first purchasing, maybe that first 6 months to a year could just be cleaning your credit. Maybe it's finding that home. There's so many factors that come into play. So if you make a decision now to say I'm going to buy a house, you're actually saying, okay, I'm going to commit for the next 2 to 3 years to get myself established enough to buy my house. Because it's not a speedy process unless your grandma left you the house and you inherit it and all you're doing is purchasing from grandma. Otherwise, I've never seen that happen. So, and it's not that it's unreal, but you have to keep it a reality that it's gonna take time.
So, personal power, positional power, understand the power structure. Who makes decisions? Where does money come from? Who authorizes? Who can write a check? We're talking about whether it's small business, whether you're talking about inside a nonprofit or a company, or community organization, you need to understand where the money comes from, how it flows, and who can release it. So those are really important elements, I think, in terms of power. In terms of money, I was on a panel this morning, the state governor's office organized a panel, and there's the Pay Equity Act that's on the table. Right now, in 2013, as I understand it, women make 77 cents on every dollar that men make as a national figure. And for Black women, that's 66 cents on the dollar. And for Latino women, it's 55 cents on the dollar. Now, there are structural issues, and we've heard a lot around the law. We've heard a lot around policy needs. We've heard a lot around advocacy needs. And all of those elements are important. Another key point is that we need to be willing to fail. We need to be willing to fail. The most successful people that I know, and we can go through a list of public figures, of public companies, the iconic example these days is Apple. If there are no failures, there are no successes. And as women, perfection is the enemy of our success. It is about success, not perfection. And I heard questions around how long does it take to prepare? It takes a long time. And I'll be the contrarian and say when you're 80% ready, make a move.
So all of you have something inside you, and it has been suppressed by those who say you can't. And we just need to find a